everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I'm your host in quarantine, Justin, and I'm joined today by Dan. Dan, how you doing?
I'm stuck in residence.
Stuck in residence? Oh no. Nico, you feeling kind of evil?
I'm feeling. God damn it! I can't make a pun. Dan already did it. Yeah, I'm good. I can't top that. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? You're about to feel a whole lot worse, because here we are today to record 2002's Resident Evil. This was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, also known for Mortal Kombat, Event Horizon, and Alien vs. Predator.
That explains a lot.
And 10 other Resident Evil films. We've got Mila Jovovich as the OC character Alice.
Why did you say OC character like it's a fucking DeviantArt drawing? Why couldn't you just say Alice?
We'll address that later in the pod. We've got Michelle Rodriguez as Rain, Eric Mabius as Matt, James Purifoy as Spencer Parks. We've got Colin Salmon as James Shade, and rounding up our cast is James Butler as Clarence. So we open with some people in a lab, and the story is actually told quite brilliantly through a series of interspersed flashbacks that really force you to think about why they did it that way. So we open with people in a lab, someone breaks a vial, and essentially what happens is the whole lab, which is underground in a place known as the Hive, shuts down and the AI kills fucking everyone. Now, this was done to contain a virus, also known as the T virus. T standing for the. So we then cut over to Alice, who, after ostensibly stealing Ada Wong's dress, she wakes up in a shower, a good-looking shower, by the way. I was impressed by the quality of the marble work.
I was
pretty
too.
nice bathroom.
One of the best parts of the movie.
Agreed. So she's suffering from some memory loss, and so she's in a mansion, which is reminiscent of the Resident Evil game. So you think, okay, that makes sense. But then, boom, one fucking set of commandos just jump the fuck in and basically take her and one other character, who goes by the name of Matt. They take them down on the mansion had a metro underneath, and they go to an underground lab, as I said before, called the Hive. They break in. They're supposed to basically shut off this AI and figure out what happened at the Hive. They realize it was a zombie outbreak. They, fight the AI. They fight some zombies. And Alice and Matt make a harrowing escape. They get out, but unfortunately at the end, they're apprehended by Umbrella. Yes, I hadn't called them by name yet, but Umbrella are the bad guys in this movie. And it basically sets itself up for a sequel. We see Umbrella say they're going to check what happened. And this also takes place at Raccoon City, just like the game. And when Alice comes to, she lockpicks a card reader and goes outside to find the city essentially in ruins. And that's where the movie ends. So, I kind of skirted some of the parts we'll get into in more depth. But yeah, how'd you guys, generally speaking, before we get too deep into it, I want you to tell me, so our audience knows, like, ambivalent, or dislike. How'd you feel? Dan? One word.
Oh, that's hard.
Disambivalent.
Disambivalent.
This motherfucker coming in with a prefix is okay.
If I gotta choose one word, I'll make up my own.
Okay.
Shit.
Nico?
Ambivalent. I would say amused more than anything. Entertained.
And Justin?
If I had to pick a way that I felt, I would likely say boketo, which is a Japanese word.
Motherfucker, what?
It means gazing vacantly into the distance without really thinking about anything specific.
That wasn't on the multiple choice.
That was not an option, Haruhi Murakami.
I believe his name is Haruki, but very close.
Oh,
very
damn it, I couldn't remember.
But no, to be serious, I quite dislike this film. But we'll get more into that later. So to start with, visuals. How do we feel about the visuals? This movie made... No, I was about to say great. I should have slapped myself. This movie made use of CGI. They did have some interesting practical effects. For example, the dogs they used actual dogs. They CG'd.
And you could tell.
Yeah,
and they CG'd some stuff. There were some actors who played zombies that they CG'd some facial effects. The end monster was pretty much totally CGI and it showed. But how'd you guys feel? Dan, I'll start with you. How'd you feel about the looks?
You know, the first time you see the big monster, I thought it looked pretty bad. I don't know if I got used to it or probably didn't get any better. I guess I got used to it. But by the end, I was like, it is what it is.
Oh, quick interjection.
yeah.
So you don't keep calling it the big. Do you know what the monster's name is? Its official designation?
Nope.
It's a liquor.
Well, that's the first form anyway. Is it still a liquor even after it evolves?
I believe they tried to make it into a hunter because they referenced hunter.
Right.
But I think we should just call it the liquor.
Okay.
All right. So the liquor looked pretty bad, but I guess I got used to it. And it was okay. Like you said, I actually really did notice that the dogs were very real. And I thought to myself, man, like they must have used real dogs and then probably CG'd on top of that. But I mean, the dogs looked good, and the zombies in general looked pretty good because they were based off, real people, actors. But yeah, the liquor looked pretty bad.
And to take this in kind of a slightly different direction, set design. Nico, how'd you feel about it? What'd you think? Did you like the setting of the underground lab?
Yes, in a weird way, but I just can't get over the idea that there's a hive underground. Is that a thing? Is it like, are there hives underground? Did I just miss that part in biology? But I thought hives were only like in trees and shit.
Well, I think it's a deep metaphor, really, because they're worker bees and they work in a hive.
Mm.
They do. Yeah.
But it's underground.
You thought about this movie more than you should have.
Yeah, you got me there. Okay, no, but like, I will admit, before the start of this podcast, Dan had brought up a point that this movie is kind of like a time capsule straight back to 2002. Like, we don't even need to invent time travel because we have this movie. We can just go right back. When I was watching this movie, it felt nostalgic just for, if any of our listeners used to watch Toonami, you get the exact same sort of vibe that you would watch from like seeing Tom in the spaceship as you do seeing the weird hallways in this movie and the like inside of a cheese grater aesthetic that they have going on. It's like an LL Cool J music video, but with zombies.
But not as good.
I mean, LL's been around for a while. Shout outs to the legend. But yeah, I mean,
let's build.
I don't know.
Let's build.
True. I would in a heartbeat. But yeah, no, like man, I don't know how I feel about some of this stuff. Particularly, keep in mind, this movie came out when every film was still trying to be The Matrix. Mm-hmm. And it showed. There is a specific scene where Mila Jovovich, her character Alice, jumps off a wall to spin roundhouse kick a dog.
She fucking kicks the dog.
But like,
why did they kick the dog?
She sees the dog, and her first attempt is, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to run up against the wall like fucking somersault and kick the dog in the face.
She could have just ducked.
And I was like, wow.
She dropped the gun that she have to do that. Like, she shot in rapid succession. She shot like 6 dogs 2 seconds before that. And it was just like, fuck it, for this last dog, I'm just going to kick it. Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I don't
Nike, bitch.
I don't know.
My favorite part about that scene, though, was that's like prior to that, like Justin mentioned, she had memory loss, so she didn't realize like that she could fight. So this is the scene where she realizes that. So the whole scene is in like regular time, and then after she wins, after she kills them, it goes into slow-mo of her realizing that she can fight.
And she has a moment where she looks at her hands like, what have I done?
That is slow-mo. The action shots aren't slow-mo. But her thinking, that is slow-mo. Like in slow-mo, you see her head turn like 10 degrees to the side. I was like,
really
wow.
Subverting your expectations.
It's like they had to slow it down to come up with the rest of this plot.
Right.
Another thing that I will say about the visuals, and I will give props to perhaps the coolest part of this movie, the laser hallway.
Yes.
So
that was pretty
cool.
sweet.
There is a scene where the SWAT team, the aforementioned SWAT team, the majority of their members get trapped in this hallway where a laser comes through. And at first, everyone manages to like jump over it or duck under it. And then it comes back a second time. Some guy tries to jump and the laser trolls him and cuts him directly in half.
That was funny.
As he jumps. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. And then the captain, that was James Shade, I believe. he like grabs onto the ceiling and like, you know, presses himself against the ceiling like Spider-Man, so he dodges it. And then, you know, meanwhile, they have a hacker guy who's like, oh, I'm turning it off. I don't know if you hear me pressing buttons, but like he's trying to turn it off. And the laser beam gets, and I feel like they fucked up because the laser beam gets right in front of his face. He's like, I did it. Turn it off. Nope. The laser beam splits into like a fucking like grater and slices James Shade in the worst way possible, cuts him into like 50 billion pieces, looking like this man got hit by the Hiten Mitsurugi style. And he just like, it's game over. He just dies. And I was like, well, shit, there went the most likable character. But yeah, that was a pretty badass scene. I did like that.
That was a good scene though.
And now swapping a little bit to the audio. Now the music in this is also from 2002.
That
to call out some of the artists,
2002.
to call out some of the artists on this soundtrack: Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, I believe Static X was also involved. Mudvayne.
Fucking Mudvayne.
So we had this is 2002 Mudvayne. So we had, you know, some heavy hitters of the time. I was surprised Korn wasn't on the playlist, but. I mean, I will say though, throughout the movie, you didn't get a lot of like that stuff. You got more some weird like
industrial electronic.
That's exactly what I would describe it as.
Yep.
Not quite hard bass, but like the step below that. So it was odd, man. It was playing some DDR Max while they were killing zombies, and I didn't know how to feel about it. How did you feel about it?
I started dancing.
I mean, it was just so 2002. Like a lot of it I couldn't quite take seriously. And it wasn't bad music choice, because if it was 2002 when I was watching, I'd be like, hell yeah, this is dope. Oh yeah. But it's not 2002. So I don't know. I couldn't totally take it seriously, but it got me hyped sometimes. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Nico, how'd you feel about it?
Honestly, I have to agree 100%. There were moments where I was unreasonably hype because of the hilarity of the scene that was going by and just the ludicrous factor of not the rapper, but like the insanity of punctuating these scenes with this like industrial rock nonsense was just fucking great in the worst way possible.
I don't remember when the song came out, but you know, now that you mentioned Luda, I feel like
I was gonna say if he did Get Back,
yeah, that would have fit.
That would have been funny as shit.
They could have just had like when she was about to fight the zombies of like Ludacris Get Back started playing, and Ludacris just showed up and like punched him in the face.
Can we get a Tyler Perry version of this movie?
But the Luda from the music video too, where he has like big ass hands.
Big
hands? Hands. Yeah.
You know what? We just dated ourselves. Any younger listeners out there are not gonna fucking know about the Get Back music video. But
watch that shit on Yahoo Music. Get at me.
What?
Yeah, don't worry about it, bro.
So I will say, and you know, we talked about the music and how it wasn't necessarily, you know, you didn't say spine tingling.
I did not say spine tingling.
You didn't say spine tingling. I'm going to interject that at every opportunity from now on.
I will say this. How do you feel about, is this a horror movie? Were you ever scared? Like, not that like it was scarily bad, but like, were you ever scared of the monsters? Were you scared of the CGI? Did you afraid the monster would lick you? Like, what are we really talking about here? Is this a horror movie?
I wasn't scared, but I think it's a horror movie.
You think it's a horror movie?
I mean, what else would it be? Sci-fi?
Action.
So I think it could be like an action sci-fi flick, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a lot ever done. And we'll talk about it a little bit later on a more academic tip after I've
I don't think there was a lot ever done. You're right.
Made my ludicrous reference. But no, like it's I think having a main character as powerful as Alice, because everyone else is out here shooting zombies with guns. Alice is out here kung fu kicking them bitches. Like she's like legitimately, I think, what was it? There's a scene where a zombie tries to attack her and she hits him with like the fucking Shishi Rendan from Naruto. And then it's like, oh shit, like she's about to open the gates on this bitch.
Like 5 times in a second. Like what the
fuck? She hits him with like the 8 trifold palms of death. And then he just drops dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, they made a point of shooting a zombie like a zombie got shot with a machine gun to the chest.
That's true. And
Michelle Rodriguez unloaded that shit.
Yeah, it got up and walked away. And then it lived. Meanwhile, Alice is over here unlocking her chakra and shit, and she's putting these bitches down.
And she kicks a dog in the head and it dies.
Yeah,
apparently.
like I think when you can do the Matrix and like dodge zombies and shit, is there anything to be afraid of? Was she ever in danger?
No.
Listen, there was a point where the liquor at the very end of the movie, so at the very end of the movie, you know, they're escaping the facility on a train, and the liquor, which could possibly have transformed into a hunter by now, it somehow caught up with the train, hops on the train, and attacks her. It gives her a little boop on the head with its tongue. Like it gives her like a Yoshi lick. Like a blah. And so it boops her. She hits the ground, but immediately gets back up.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm just like, dude, you can't be stopped. So I don't know. But you mentioned what other genre this could possibly be.
It wasn't spine tingling.
I mean, you're right about that. But how do we feel about, and this kind of brings up another point, this is yet another kind of video game made movie where I don't know if it translated the game to the big screen that well. I mean, taking it all the way back to like the Mario fucking movie. I mean,
oh god,
these don't ever really translate well, do they? Do you have any examples of one that actually made sense?
Silent Hill.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
I agree with that.
I stand corrected. Aside from Silent Hill, the first one, which, by the way, we will definitely be reviewing on this pod at some point, as I love that movie.
Likewise.
Anyone know any other ones? I guess we could technically bring up the Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood joint, but that was almost kind of, I don't count that because that was kind of made as part of it.
I don't count that.
Yeah. I think we need to talk strictly live action movies.
True enough.
We had Prince of Persia, where Jake Gyllenhaal was the white Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
You know what? As long as he expressed his belief in Zoroaster, I would have been okay. But I don't remember seeing any Zoroastrianism in that film.
Not a single drop. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I bet there's one or two other good video game adaptations out there. I can't think of what they are, but they got to be somewhere.
It just makes me sad because this game in particular, like the first one, it is ripe with material that would be great for a movie. But it makes me sad because if you took out the little red and white umbrellas and the mention of the T virus, which, by the way, why are the canisters for the T virus shaped like fucking tortellinis or whatever? I just have to say that, like, if you took all of the references out of here, this would just be a really wacky zombie movie.
Yes. And while you know what? We can just go in there now, man. I'll say this. So have either of you guys played the first Resident Evil game?
I actually have not. No.
It's been a while, but I played the remake.
Was that the remake on the, like, which one?
The GameCube, I think it was.
Okay. So I've played a bunch of Resident Evil games. I love Resident Evil. I like survival horror. I didn't like it when it shifted over to like more actiony with like 6, but I like Resident Evil. You know, I got Resident Evil 4 back in like 2005 when it first came out for the PS2. I actually remember getting it like on Christmas Day. Like I remember my mom got it for me. I opened it up, played it, and was instantly decapitated by the chainsaw guy. Nice.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, I don't know. I played the first Resident Evil game, and like you're right, Nico. Like, I'm just gonna go into a little quick detail here, and then I'll be quiet a little bit. But first and foremost, the dress. The dress that Alice wears is clearly meant to be Ada Wong's. They just shifted where the slit was over from the left leg to the right leg or whatever else. They got it on the opposite side. Why wouldn't you just put Ada Wong in the movie? I don't understand. Like, why not? You clearly had all these references. Like, there are so many good characters there. Like Jill, right? Jill Valentine. Chris. Yeah, you know, like, or if you didn't want to use them, you could have used Leon. You could have used Claire, Barry, anyone.
Claire would have been great for this movie.
You literally could have used anyone. Like this, come on, you had the mansion. What a tease. You had the mansion. You talked about the incident at Raccoon City, and then you went on your own little creative adventure quest. Why? The plot wasn't good. Who gives a shit about an AI that went rogue? It doesn't even make any sense.
And why was it a little girl?
Yeah, what? I mean, they said it was like supposed to be a hologram created after the guy's daughter, which if you see the sequel, they go more into that. But it blows my mind that you would take a perfectly good plot, especially from the guy who did Mortal Kombat. Granted, Mortal Kombat didn't have much of a plot to follow back then.
Well, hey, there's a good, how do you feel about that video game adaptation?
You know what? I've seen worse. I actually like it.
It's cheesy, but in a good way. I mean,
yeah.
you know.
I mean, keep in mind, I think at that point in time, the only Mortal Kombat games that had come out was like the first one, maybe the second one.
Good point.
It's so 90s, it hurts, but in the best way.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat. Like, it's a dope joint. I like it. Just flashback to getting my ass beat in high school, playing Mortal Kombat chess with one of my friends. Jesus Christ, this dude like beat me like every 3 seconds.
I remember that.
God damn. Anyways, yeah, man, it is. It just hurts me so bad. And you could have had Wesker. Wesker is such a better villain than this dumb shit AI or Spence.
Dude, I thought Spence was gonna be Wesker at first. Like when we were watching the very first like 5 minutes of the movie, which by the way, if you have a functioning frontal lobe, you will be able to tell the entire plot of this movie within the first 5 minutes. It's just bad. But I genuinely thought that it was going to be Wesker, but no, it's white guy de jour number 42, Spence. Not Spencer, Spence.
And he keeps you in suspense because he doesn't even know what the fuck he's about to do until a good halfway through the movie when he decides, you know what? It would be in my best interest to turn evil.
For no reason. Literally no reason.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good segue into things in this movie that doesn't make sense. So starting with, and I know I said I was going to be quiet, but much like this movie, I lied to you.
No, I like, I like the hate.
So
it's spine tingling.
Apparently there was like a subplot within a subplot. So Alice supposedly in this movie was working with Matt's.
I like how you say it like as if she's supposedly in this movie.
Well, she was working with the character Matt's sister to try and like get evidence that the Umbrella Corporation was working on some evil shit. But little do we know, Spence was operating by himself and he had a plan to steal the T-virus and the cure and profit. So before he leaves the lab though, he decides to ... bust a T-virus container, exposing it to the air. And then he somehow has the foresight to get out before the computer locks everything down. Now, I thought that didn't really make a ton of sense because he could have just taken the briefcase and walked out.
Genuinely. Yeah, he could have been fine.
Also, I feel like that was a very poorly designed laboratory.
Yeah,
like,
right?
If the AC vents in those like super top secret, oh my God, whatever facilities, if that's connected to the entire place, like, come on, you gotta have better, like you're working with all these chemicals and stuff, you gotta have better ventilation than that. Come on.
It's supposed to be self-contained, right? Like that's what it should be. Also, let's keep our deadly pathogen that could wipe out humanity in a really easy to break glass container.
Which incidentally, why, like I hate it when there are plot holes in movies that are existing just for the sake of setting up scenes. Like about a third of the way through the movie, when we first interact with the Red Queen, she could have literally just told them, hey guys, this is for safety purposes. There's zombies here. I'm literally just trying to keep everyone safe. So I'm like, oh, okay, we'll leave.
Yeah,
that would have been that.
It was kind of weird. I couldn't quite figure out if the computer system was good, bad, ambivalent.
I think it was dumb.
Because I feel like it was pretty much just doing its job of shutting down the facility. Sometimes it just did that, shutting down the facility so that the virus can't escape. But then other times it had like ulterior motives of trying to kill everyone. And then like,
I've been a very bad girl. Like,
yeah,
why?
it's like, wait, what? And then like they're asking the computer about the liquor, and they're like, oh, well, I think the computer program saved it for us so it could kill us later. Like, but wait, but why? Like, what's the motive? I don't understand. And
IDK lol.
and if the computer system's trying to keep everything trapped inside, why would you send the liquor after them when they're escaping and there's a good chance that the liquor is going to get out?
And why would you send that SWAT team in the first place? Just like, there's literally no point. The fucking SWAT team is from Umbrella Corps.
Right. They didn't even talk about why the SWAT team was there, did they?
No.
All they said was something happened and we need to find out. But then, before they even really got in, they said, oh yeah, we know exactly what happened. The virus went haywire and killed
just
everyone.
keep
Or
going.
not the virus. The AI went haywire and killed
Yeah.
everyone. And I was like, so you know what happened?
So let's
What are you
get
doing?
out.
Like, if you know the AI went haywire and killed everyone,
Then
Couldn't-
leave.
what? But here's the thing that I don't understand the most of all. There's a scene where, the characters are trapped and they're like, well, we have 20 minutes to escape. And one of the characters goes, well, if they don't find us, if you guys don't make it back, they'll send someone. No, they won't. There's no way. But at the very end of the movie, the very first thing we find out is
They send people.
they literally
That's
send
true. I
people
didn't
to
think
go
about
back.
that.
And I was like, wait, so what was the point?
Oh my god.
And I don't know, like, so much of it really didn't make a ton of sense. Now, I'm going to speak this into the atmosphere, and Nico is going to go ahead and take it away. But
Oh no.
there's a little bit of a warping problem.
Oh
in
no.
this movie.
I knew it.
And by that, I mean characters seem to somehow warp from scenes to scenes. One example, Michelle Rodriguez's character, who goes by the name of Rain, she's in a sewer in a very narrow hallway, crowded by zombies. She's barely fighting them off. She shoots one in the head. What's the very next scene we see here in Nico?
Okay, so for context, in case you don't have the picture painted in your head quite as detailed, they are fucking surrounded by like 100 of these motherfuckers. They are like clawing at her, biting at her shoulder, and then literally 3 seconds later, there's a cut with Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez just chilling 3 feet above on some sort of railway like, oh man, that was tough. They don't show them getting up at all. They also never show, they never fucking show Mila Jovovich get dressed once. And she has 3 costume changes in the movie,
Huh.
which is so fucking dumb.
Did she have 3 costume changes? I know
Yeah.
she put on the leather jacket. I guess I must have lost track. I must have glazed
So
over.
there is the part where she wakes up in the swag ass shower. She
Right.
gets into like the shower curtain bathrobe or something. Then, apropos of nothing, she's in the strange Ada Wong red dress. Then she's got some, the military tactical gear, and then she's like got other shit on. It's fucking wild. There's so many points in this movie, and maybe that's her superpower. Maybe that's why she knows that she can't be fucked with, because she has the power to just say, continuity, you're my bitch.
I mean, Dan, did you see anything else that maybe didn't make a lot of sense to you? Because I know we could go on forever, but let's try and keep it here. So, anything?
I mean, I think we've talked about a lot of them already. Just the warping, the zombie health points. Like some of them you kick once and they die, or you shoot them 50 times and they're still walking around. And the fact that they don't even know what zombies are. Like the first time you see a zombie, they're like, oh my God, this person went crazy. She bit me. Oh my God.
I think they do make a reference as he's like, I think it's pretty clear what they are. But then he goes on to say, like, not zombies.
They
Right.
don't know
Right.
what fucking
Right.
zombies are.
And I'm like, I mean, this is supposed to be in like real life. Zombie movies should be a thing. You should know what a zombie is at this point.
Oh, before we move on to our next point, I will say, did you guys catch the explanation of what the T virus is? Yeah.
No.
So apparently, per the robot computer's instruction, when a human dies, there is an electrical activity
Oh
in
yeah,
the brain,
that's right.
and the cells are still not dead, which is not true. Your body doesn't make new cells after you die, for the most part. Like, I know hair can grow and nails too, but like Your cells aren't really replicating anymore once you die, bro. But I think they mean like right at the point of death. But they're like, the T virus stimulates the electricity in your brain. And I'm like, what the fuck? But then wait, why are you hungry? They're like, yeah, the human body is hungry. Like, what? Like, it was the most substandard explanation. Like, they should have not even tried. Like, they should have just been like, yeah, make zombies, bro. Unintended side effect. But then they're like, it was a medical breakthrough. In what fucking way? How did this help anyone?
Yo, fam, after you die, we got you.
I don't know.
It is in no way helpful.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And that's another point. It wouldn't even be useful to military. Like, all right, guys. So after you kill them, yeah. So they can slowly walk around. By God, Jonathan, this is insane. I will pay $1 billion for it.
Yeah, but if you become one of the zombies that has like 10,000 HP, then that's worth it. But if you get the bad luck of being the one that has like 2 HP, then
yeah, true enough. Nico, you were actually saying something else, weren't you? Or is that your point?
Yeah, no, there's one more scene in particular that I wanted to bring up, and in my heart of hearts, I wish that they were directing this scene as an homage to B movies and Troll 2 in particular. There's a scene where Kaplan, the K guy, Kaplan, this is another continuity shot where he's sitting on a pipe and he is kind of like stranded with a horde of zombies. The rest of our cadre is behind a chain link wall somehow. Don't ask me why or how. And everyone is like, no, we got to stay with him. We got to rescue him. And then Kaplan goes, get out of here. Go. Yeah. Alice pauses for like a solid minute, looks down. We pan over to Kepler still staring at her.
You call the man Kepler? His name is Kaplan.
I mean, fucking Kaplan. It pans over to him.
Kepler, an astronomer?
Yeah, because this is astronomically bad. And then she moves. Like, I don't know, man.
I also like in that same scene, there's a zombie that grabs a hold of him, and Rain can't shoot him because she's turning into a zombie and she can't see
really slowly.
Right.
I can't see.
Then
I can't focus.
So Alice takes the gun and shoots the one zombie that is grabbing him. And then they just cheer him on from there. Go, run. And like, you still have a gun. You can still shoot zombies. But nope, they're just going to cheer him on.
I would have to say the denouement of that whole moment is when he takes all the bullets out of his gun, right? He throws the bullets at the zombies.
Yeah,
keeps
that
one in
didn't
the
make any
chamber.
sense.
He keeps one in the chamber, and then he like puts the gun in his mouth. We cut to Alice, and we hear the blow. Oh man, my boy Kaplan, Cagliostro, he just went out like a boss. Like he just shot himself. Psych. We cut back to him, and he shoots a zombie, and
you're
he's
gonna
like,
work for your meat today.
You gotta work for your food. All right, but you're surely gonna be dead because you were surrounded and isolated, and there was no possible way you could have escaped. Psych. He just shows up like 20 minutes later. Like oh my God. Like I don't even know.
This movie's fucking great.
Like you could just be like, ha, just kidding. And then like literally, when he came back and he was like, I fried the computer. I was like, wow, how did that happen? No explanation. He must have just warped. Like everyone else hit a checkpoint. So he just warped to the checkpoint. But like, what the fuck? How did that happen? I don't know, man.
Oh my God.
It was tragic, but it was entertaining at the same time.
But it was not.
It was spine tingling.
You might have a point there. So I have a question for you guys, actually. And here's one thing I did have a question about. The AI does say that even a scratch from the monsters can infect you. Mm-hmm. So Matt, who is he's the star boy, he gets scratched by the liquor. He starts to turn into Nemesis. Or, sorry, they say they want him in the Nemesis program. His arm currently has worms coming out of it. And it's kind of like bulging and stuff. And I guess my question is this. How do you feel about a scratch being able to turn you? traditionally it's been a bite because the virus is transmitted through blood or saliva sometimes.
Well, they do say also earlier that in this virus, anyways, this movie world, it's transmitted. It can transform into anything depending on the environment it's in, whether it's liquid, gas, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Except that, because that would be too difficult. So, I mean, I guess it could become, I don't even know what, like liquid on the claws or something. I don't know, like poison or something.
I guess you're right. So let's get to a part that I know you've been dying for. If you were in this movie, what would you do different?
Oh, God. Oh, man.
So I have two answers to that. One, I would just activate my warp ability and just warp out of there.
Yep.
But two, for real, I feel like I would have had a more conversation with the computer, because when they started talking to the computer, it seemed pretty fine to answer all questions and be pretty cordial. And at the beginning, they're just like, nope, fuck this computer. It sees us. Oh, no. And it's like, okay, just talk to it. Like, shit.
You know what was blatantly odd? And you're right. The computer seems to like homicidally attack the team. And there's no point or gain for the computer at that point in time to kill the whole team.
Mm-mm.
And, when they talk to the computer's like, don't turn me off. You won't like it if my power goes out. And then
and it was right.
And then like they turn off the power and all the zombies get out. And I was like, what a dick. The CPU could have just been like, yo, don't do it, dog. I'm holding all these zombies back. Like,
just like that.
Come on.
Yo, dog.
I mean, I don't know. Like that's just wild to me. And then on top of that, there's a scene, right? And this was the kicker. This was like the epitome of dramatic timing. There's a scene at the very start when they walk into the lab. There's like a dead corpse like floating in some water up against the glass. And then as soon as everyone turns their back, it opens its eyes. Ha ha, I'm alive. It's like, damn. Now imagine if they'd actually seen that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie could have been different. But Nico, what would you do differently?
I would spend the entire movie spitting game at Michelle Rodriguez.
That's your that's your dream answer. Now what's your real answer?
My real answer is I'd fucking leave, man. Like I'd fucking leave.
Let's say you followed the team in. How would you have gotten out?
Trace my steps, my guy? I don't know.
I mean, they said, there were zombies in the corridors and stuff like that, so they couldn't just like #leave.
Well, then I'd get in the air vents. I don't know. We previously established that they have central air, so
that goes everywhere.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty goddamn good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet you the hunter was probably up there or something like that. But
what about you, Justin?
For me, here's what I would have done. First and foremost, I probably would have just A, talked to the computer more. But B, I would have said, wait a second, guys, what's your mission here again?
Yeah, right.
Because I don't legitimately think they accomplished anything.
They really
No, they didn't.
They did nothing of importance in this movie.
Like all they managed to do was blow the motherboard of the AI, which was holding back the zombies anyways.
I mean, if anything, they just caused the outbreak.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they did. I think the blast doors, which was when they got there, they had 2 hours before like the ultra doors closed. For real.
They had flex tape.
You know what would have helped everyone a lot more though? If people just communicated and were open and didn't play like dumb fucking games with their stories. Like, explain to me this. The SWAT team burst in through the fucking windows of the mansion, doing like all types of crazy shit, to then be like, oh, we're on the same team. Then why did you destroy the whole house? Like, what was the point of that? To stunt? Because you're literally later on, he's confused as to why he does like, Alice doesn't know, I think it's Shade doesn't like, he's like, oh man, how does Alice not recognize me? Like, bro, you just like busted in her house and like busted caps on. It's like the one Dave Chappelle skit when they bust in his house and just like fuck everything up. Like that's pretty much what they did. And I was like, yo, I don't know, man. That was wild to me. And the computer could have been like, they're zombies. They were like so ready to not. How did the SWAT team not know there was a T virus? Was that top secret?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because why else did they bring all those guns? Also, sorry, and I realize we talked about this already, but the Umbrella Corporation is this massive, like multi-billion dollar, like international conglomerate. But you sent like 5 people?
The moral of the story is that capitalism is bad.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But yeah, so that's what I would have done. I guess to kind of bring this one to kind of like a cease, so to speak. Now, we do know that obviously it's based on the game, as I said, and as it butchers the game's memory, we have to sometimes look at it. Is this better if we look at it as a standalone and not at all in reference to the game? Do we owe the movie that much?
I think we owe the game that much.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, you have a good point there. So, keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and cast our glance over to the Rotten Tomatoes, where the critics gave this movie a 36%. Again, aggregator, I understand. And the audience score is 67 fucking plebeians. So, let's see here. What do we agree with more, guys? Do we agree with the critics on this one, or do we agree with the audience?
I agree more with the critics. I wouldn't quite put it that low, but I think it's closer to their score than the audience score.
I also agree with the critics, and I feel sorry for Michelle Rodriguez.
I will say, so out of the people in this movie, Michelle Rodriguez and Mila Jovovich are the 2 biggest names, but I'm gonna keep it 100%. Michelle Rodriguez is better than this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mila Jovovich, on the other hand, can stay right here. That is all I got as far as that. I agree with the critics, by the way. I completely agree with the critics. Now, would you guys keep it at 36%? Would you bump it up a little bit? How would you do?
I would bump it up a little bit. I'd put it at like a 42.
Okay.
This is where I feel torn, if you will. This is one of the best movies to sit around and bullshit with your friends, like crack open a few cold ones and just like have a great time watching the insane continuity that is the Resident Evil 2002 movie. It's a fantastic time. It's also a terrible movie. So yeah, I agree with the critics. I just wish there was a feature on Rotten Tomatoes where they were like, no, really, it's terrible, but watch it with some friends.
Yeah, a lot of my hatred towards the movie is based on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, going into this blind, if you didn't know anything about it and just watch it as an action flick, it is a cheesy B movie in every sense of the word. I would most likely have to give this a, Dan, you said 42?
Mm-hmm.
I'd put it around there. 42, anywhere from the 42 to 45 range. If you've got some friends to watch it with, I think it does get a little bit better. The cheesy kung fu and the dumb final villain. I mean, I don't know. Clearly, the movie did set itself up for a sequel.
Yeah.
But Nemesis would have made a much better final villain than a hunter. Straight up.
Yeah.
Because Nemesis, he totes a rocket launcher and he's got a badass trench and
he's huge.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's huge.
Fucking huge.
So, is this a movie that you would recommend?
I kind of agree with Nico. I think if you're just hanging out with your friends and you want to have like just a lighthearted, I mean, it's not even supposed to be lighthearted, which is the bad part, but if you just want to have fun with some of your friends watching a movie, yeah, I would recommend it. But as far as like, if you're actually expecting a good movie out of it, no, I wouldn't.
Agreed. Nico?
I had a absolute blast with this movie for how bad it is, and so I would recommend it for that factor, but by no means is it ever going to win an Oscar.
Well, you heard it from us. Anyone have any last thoughts to get off their chest before we bring this one to a cease?
No.
I'm just... I bless Mila Jovovich's heart or Alice's heart. One, they literally never say her name in the movie, but two,
true.
In one of the last scenes when the people in the white hazmat suits come by and she's still just earnestly trying to fight to save Matt's life when there's fucking SpaghettiOs coming out of him and like dude's already far gone.
You notice her kung fu power goes away in that scene. You have random dudes in white suits. Yo, she was knocking out zombies with jump spin kicks and shit. And now she can't even fight off some scientists.
She forgot.
Yeah.
She gets plus 10 against zombies.
Probably,
And how does she
bro.
pick a lock? How does she pick a fucking key
keypad.
card holder with a needle?
That's when you got the max lockpick skill in Skyrim, bro. But yeah, on that note, hopefully on a more serious note, we joked around about the T-virus here. At time of recording, and hopefully at time of release, we hope everyone's doing good. Well, not hopefully, you're right, but we hope everyone's doing good.
After release, go fuck yourself.
Well, no. Everyone knows what hidden virus we all gotta fight against in real life. So hopefully everyone keep yourself safe. Wash your hands and all that. And I mean, take this now more than ever. Have a great night, and please don't open that door. Take care.